Hey everybody, welcome back to Pardonable Live. It's Sunday night, 8:30, and we're hanging out. We're going to talk a little bit about what happened today, along with what happened in the past week. And we're just going to chit chat about some of the ongoings politically and culturally, because I think a lot of what's going on today politically is intrinsically tied to cultural stuff. So, of course, those two are going to mash up. We're going to hang out. We're going to make jokes. We're going to make fun of the left, like we always do. And guys, I'm going to do my best to make fun of the right, but it's not going to go very well. I'm not very good at making fun of the right, but I'm going to give it my best shot. No, I'm not. I'll try, but it's going to be super hard because the right and old Trumpers is he's making it really hard for me not to like him. Like he's making it really, really difficult, especially what was going on today with him visiting McDonald's. But before we get into it, if you like this podcast, you see the moniker at the bottom says like and subscribe, you jabronis. Do that for me. If you like it, go and like and subscribe, whatever you're watching this on. Guys, I'm also on Kick. If you guys are listening to this and you guys are like, hey, I'm on Kick, I'm gonna go ahead and follow me out there. I don't know if anybody's even on Kick. I don't know what Kick is, but we're there. It could be like I don't have no idea. It could be like a financial website. Don't know. We're on Kick, we're on Twitch, we're on X, and we're on YouTube. That's the places you're going to find me each time. If you hit like a bell, I'm sure there's some kind of notification you can do. You guys know the drill. Don't make me do this stupid TikTok spiel trying to get likes and subscribes. You guys know I hate begging. I'm not above it, but I hate doing it. Do all that good stuff. But if you really want to follow me and see what I'm up to date doing, you can also go to pardonwill.com. Here's my website. You can go here. There's all kinds of cool stuff. If you go to comic book or comic art at the top, all the cool tabs take you somewhere fun. I even have NFTs up there. And I know NFTs dropped off like a year ago. They're still there. In case there's one person or three people out in the universe still buying NFTs, I've got a few of them. You can go there and purchase an NFT. Be like the only person who's ever bought one. Maybe the only person who's buying them. You can do that. Or you can just check out my art. You can go to check this whole gallery out. Let's scroll all the way to the bottom. I don't even know what else I have on. All this stuff is available on my Etsy. Here's some cool helmet series I did. If you like Iron Man, that's a cool one. Captain America, and it hits all genres. You guys know the spiel. Go here and take a look. It's like a little miniature gallery, all for your viewing pleasure. Also, the chat is open, so if you guys want to hang out and say something nice, say something mean, doesn't matter. I'll probably share it. We'll probably talk about it and all that good stuff. Either way, thanks for hanging out with your boy on a Sunday night. I love Sunday nights because it's the start of a week. It's a great way to get your week started off on the right foot. And so a lot of what we're going to chat about tonight is not very serious. We're just going to talk about good things, all fun things, and do a little bit of a recap. Now, the problem with doing things on Sunday nights like we always do, the week has already gone by and every one of your favorite podcasters has talked about all your favorite stuff already and done a deep analysis of each thing over and over again. If you're a podcast junkie like I am, you've heard every which way. The only way you haven't heard is my way. And so we're going to recap one of my favorite things. I try not to do the whole week because we had the Kamala interview with Brett Baer. That went we're going to talk about that in a minute. But we also had a Catholic charity dinner that apparently everyone does every election, all the presidential nominees. Kamala did a SNL skit that wasn't funny, but again, it's SNL, so kind of hard to be funny. And Trump came out with, I would have to assume, some pre-written jokes because there's no way. Like, I know Trump's funny, and the best part, here's the thing about comedy, and especially when it comes to wit, if you can be funny right off the hand without writing them down, having just kind of quick-witted, it's a good sign of intelligence. But having a good, well-written joke is phenomenal. I don't think he wrote these, but he came out with some bangers. And so I got a countdown of 5. I thought we'd watch that and just go over them and talk about them. So here are the 5 jokes. I don't know. He maybe said more. I didn't watch the actual thing. I just caught the highlights. Here's the 5 jokes. We're gonna watch these and just see. I mean, if Trump wrote these, I mean, he should easily be president. I mean, just on the fact of that alone. I don't think he did, but it was cool to see him just be hilarious. These are great. So let's check them out.
I used to think the Democrats were crazy for saying that men have periods, but then I met Tim Walz. Well,
Bro. All right, that one's pretty good because I don't think Tim Walz is in there, but that one's pretty good because of the whole tampon Tim thing. Nice little cut. It's always good to have a little bit of truth mixed in with your joke. That would have probably not landed had the tampon thing not been so viral. But that was pretty good. Fairly mediocre. But still pretty good. I think your average viewer would be like, well, unless he's just making fun of Tim Walz, which, guys, I don't know if you notice, I hate when people make fun of Tim Walz. Absolutely hate it. Can't stand it. And no one should ever make fun of Tim Walz. Because he's so easily made fun of. Anyway,
well, I'd better wrap up because Mayor Adams told me earlier that I needed to make this one very quick, especially the city has reserved this room for a large group of illegal aliens coming in from Texas. There's a group called White Dudes for Harris. Have you seen this? White Dudes for Harris. Anybody know? Are some of you here? White Dudes for Harris? Doesn't sound like it.
All right, so that was. I know I hate. You're not supposed to explain jokes because it takes the fun out of them. But that part, this is the only reason I brought these clips up, because I thought that was great. Because that actually shows. Because I don't think he wrote these jokes. I think someone wrote them for him, which is probably pretty good. Maybe he was just on the Schultz podcast. Maybe Schultz wrote these for him, or Kill Tony, or something like that. But that part right there, that part I don't think was written down. I think that was Trump in his actual humor. Him being like, "Have we got any of them here?" Oh, doesn't sound like it. That part I don't think was written, and I think that's actually Trump's genius. Everything else I do think was written, but the delivery is half the thing. So let's finish these up and we'll talk about it.
But I'm not worried about them at all because their wives and their wives' lovers are all voting for me. A major issue in this race is child care, and Kamala has put forward a concept of a plan. A lot of people don't like it. The only piece of advice I would have for her in the event that she wins would be not to let her husband, Doug, anywhere near the nannies. Just keep them away. That's a nasty one. Chuck Schumer is here looking very glum. Doesn't he look glum? He looks glum. But look on the bright side, Chuck, considering how woke your party has become. If Kamala loses, you still have a chance to become the first woman president.
All right, those were phenomenal. They're great. They're written really well. All the jokes are not too obscure. They're enough to where everyone can somewhat pick up on them. But the key to them is, even if you have a well-written joke, the timing is what seals the joke up, what makes it actually funny. Because you can say anything and just read it out, and if you don't have the correct timing, it's just not funny. That's the comedic genius of this guy, is he knows not just how to read, because you tell he's reading it, but he knows how to time it, and he knows how to fill. Like him tapping Chuck on the back, and then him after the nannies joke and be like, "That's a nasty one." That's how you know he's having a good time. That's how you know that you're having a good time listening to it too. Because even he's somewhat self-aware. Now there was another clip I almost played where he made fun of himself. And then there was this old SNL clip where he made fun of himself as well. And I think that's part of the fun with Trump is he's not above making, and everyone keeps coming out. All the lefties are like, he's a narcissist. He only cares about himself. He doesn't want anyone to insult him. The guy insults himself all the time. And the best part about this is the Dems keep coming out with like the campaign of joy. Dude, this guy took a bullet, and then he's been trying. People have been trying to shoot him all over the place, and it looks like he's still having a good time. It looks like he's actually having fun. It looks like he's actually joyful. So I thought we would just recap those jokes just in case you guys caught a few, maybe didn't catch them. But whether or not they're written or not, the timing of it, the fills, the few things in between. The guy's funny. He's funny. He's funny, and I think that shows a sign of intelligence. Now let's talk about something else that's written. So I hate doing this because it's planned out. I plan these clips back to back on purpose. And it's somewhat unfair because I get to pick the clips. It's my show. I get to do what I want. But I found a clip of Kamala doing something that you can tell was written. And you'll be like, well, I don't know, David. I don't know if this clip was written, but to prove it's written, it's 2 speeches that she did, 2 events recently, this past week, one in Wisconsin, one in Michigan. And there's a particular line because we all know that, she has her signature lines that I grew up in a middle class America. We're going to be unburdened by what has been, which is a Marxist line. She has these like in the bag, and she pulls them out whenever she gets flustered or in a position where she doesn't know how to answer a question, like we saw in the interview with Brett Baer, where she doesn't know how to answer questions because I'm not sure if she knows actually. I think she has an answer to certain questions. I don't think they're good answers, and I think she knows that. And so she's not quick on her feet to be able to do. She's just not quick on her feet when it comes to these interviews. I think she's nervous, and I think she's wearing out quick. So what she's done is try to mix it up and add new things to her speeches, and they're all scripted and they're all planned. Like I'm sure Trump. Oh no, I take that back. I'm sure someone hands Trump a speech at his rally. I do not think he goes off of them. Or no, I think he goes off the speech. I do not think he uses them. But Kamala's got some written stuff down. And just to see how her delivery is with this, take a look at this. And I well, just analyze this back to back with Trump and the jokes. Of course, he's telling jokes on purpose. It's supposed to be jokes. And then here's Kamala at two of her rallies this week. Tell me what your thoughts are.
Should never again stand behind the seal of the President of the United States. Never again. Never again. Never again.
Oh, all right. So even the hand, I pulled this from a tweet that was talking about this. Even the hand signals, the never again from the even that script. It's not even as if she's reading the same. She's done this so many times. She's planned this out so many times that even her hand motions are identical. And the only thing that you can say about Kamala is she might be quick-witted because she can code switch. We talked about last week, the accent change. That takes skill. That definitely takes skill. And for a theater kid, she can pull those out of a bag whenever, or at least maybe she plans them before, like she stands in front of a mirror and she changes the accent up depending on what venue she's at. But the speeches don't. And in this particular part, you can tell, obviously, she's practiced this never again thing over and over again. And I was like, well, maybe this is being unfair. It is a popular thing. Side note, apparently the joy is gone. She is pissed. She's super pissed. But if you were to be like David, okay, benefit of the doubt. Maybe it's in Wisconsin, Michigan. Maybe it's just this week. Maybe this week she just, Trump says stuff and he overlaps things, different rallies. He says the same thing at different rallies. You can't judge her. He does do the same. He might not repeat the same accordion ants all the time. But he does do the same thing she does. And this is just two. This is just two instances where she says the same things and does the same hand things. And if you were to say that would be fair, except for you're wrong. So, oh God, I forgot to turn the volume down on this one. So I'm going to try to do it midway. But this is how you know you're wrong. You ready for this one?
Should never again stand behind the seal of the President
You don't need timing when you just do the same thing over and over again. Guys, this is exactly why every time she came out, she said the unburdened by what has been. And it's funny because we all have these phrases memorized. Now tell me, give me a phrase outside of Make America Great Again that Trump has memorized. Put it in the chat. Be like, he says this same thing every time. I don't watch a lot of Trump speeches. I'm not like a Trump sycophant. Apparently I am, because I can't seem to figure out. I don't know where he should. I mean, he says a bunch of dumb stuff, but even the jokes he has written, he times them well. But tell me that is this what you do when you're a candidate? Do you just plan everything out? I'm having a hard time believing Kamala is a real person at this point. Or if she is, I wonder in the background, she's like, God, like they keep ragging me on saying the same thing over and over again with the same inflection. The only thing I change is the accent. And she goes to her campaign manager. She's like, do something different. They're like, well, we haven't seen angry Kamala. She's like, all right, let's try angry Kamala. And then they wrote angry Kamala into every speech for the next 3 weeks. And I think maybe they did that because the last time Joe seemed senile was when he was shouting at everybody at the State of the Union. We were all like, well, he's hopped up on drugs. I think they're pulling the same card with her. But it's gotta be terrifying for her to be like, this is all I have. Is I have this one thing, and I do the same hand signals. It's theater. It's theater, guys. And that's what I'm telling you. The difference between a comedian and an actor. You have Trump, who's a comedian, and then you have Kamala, who's an actor. And you can see the differences. Now, the real thing is, which ones are the Americans going to relate to the most? Are they going to relate to the comedian, or are they going to relate to the actor? And I have a sneaky suspicion the majority of Americans relate to the comedian. And the only reason I think majority of Americans relate to the comedian more than the actor is because I don't think a lot of people have time to fall into the actor shtick, and I think the internet's ruined that. I think because we can do what I just did and just take pictures of people back to back and play that, and where you'd be like, "Hey, look at her say the same thing with the same hand gestures." Like back 20 years ago, you couldn't do that. They'd be like, "Oh, this is a great speech by George Bush." You know, we came and conquered, mission accomplished. But we didn't have the internet to be able to put all the George Bush's things. I think they've been doing this forever. And so to to be a politician nowadays, I don't think you can pull the same playbook out that they've been doing. I think you actually have to have a personality. Here's a and I should have brought this clip up, and this is another great one I saw. Kamala was doing a speech, and someone at a rally, and I don't know if this is for real or not because I didn't see the clip, but I did see an interview with the lady who did it at one of her rallies, and in the middle of her talking, someone shouted, "Jesus is Lord." And she stopped and she said, "I think you're at the wrong rally. That's the one down the street," because they're both in Pennsylvania or whatever. And I thought, well, that's not very tasteful to people who are Christian. Like, hey, that thing, you don't belong here. But that was pretty quick on her feet, but not in the right direction. And then there was a clip of JD Vance that came out today, and he was doing a rally and he's talking. And someone did the same thing to him, shouted like Jesus Christ is King. And he's talking, he stops and goes, "You know what? Jesus Christ is King," and then continues on. And the whole crowd cheers. And so maybe it's not enough to just be quick on your feet, but to be quick on your feet and in the right absolute direction. And I don't think when you're an actor, when you have all your lines written out and you've practiced them over and over again, I don't think Trump practices his lines. And I think you can tell that. We're going to watch a bunch of clips coming up, but I don't think he practices his lines because he goes off script all the time. And I think, all right, this is what we're boiling down to. The problem with having a script is you follow the lines. It's great. You never really flub up. You never really mess up. You have the same hand gestures. And so you're very predictable, but you don't seem authentic. But when Trump goes off script all the time, he's unpredictable. He says stupid stuff all the time, right? And so you have it's a double-edged sword because it also makes you feel authentic. It makes you sound like you're a real person because, dude, I say stupid stuff all the time. I say stupid stuff while doing live streams all the time. People say stupid, we all say stupid things. And you can tell when someone's being authentic when they're not giving you a sales pitch. And I don't think with the days of the internet, when we've heard Kamala's speech 30 times for saying the same thing over and over again, but we can't really figure out why James doesn't, or James, sorry, James just popped in the chat. He's got a great point. I'm gonna pull this up. This is another thing. Always read the room. And I don't think when you have a scripted, thanks, James. I don't think when you have a scripted playbook like an actor like Kamala, that you can read the room. That's why when someone yells Jesus Christ is King or Jesus is Lord, the first thing was like, I think that was off the cup, but I don't think that played well because I don't know if she knew. I think she instantly went MAGA, red flag, like MAGA, that's down the street. Like I think she's associated things. She couldn't have been like, yeah, that's funny, or changed it up. She definitely couldn't have done the JD Vance thing. But I think that authenticity thing, I think that's what you get. Do you want somebody who's going to be able to not be on script? Because if you like that authenticity, you're going to get things that they're going to say that, be like, well, that's a weird reference, or I didn't get that, or that sounded like he was making fun of Detroit. But if you don't like that, then all you're going to just get the actor. And I think Americans are kind of sick of just having actors in front of them. I don't think they're falling for it anymore. Whereas I think they could have back 20 years ago. I think it's a new game board. And I think that's why Trump does so well, is because it's almost as if, I mean, The Apprentice, I don't know if that was scripted. And I know he's done TV shows where he reads a script and he's not a good actor. He's never been really, even in Home Alone, like you can tell he's like, oh, they just put him in there for a cameo. He's not like an actor, but he is funny. And you can tell he interacts with people a lot because he's a comedian. He's quick on his feet and he knows how to read the room, like James says, and he knows what direction to go. And we're going to see that some more because Trump went to Mickey D's and that whole thing. But Actually, yeah, let's go there. Trump went to Mickey D's. And I'm going to show you I'm going to show you a quick clip. So basically the story is, and this happened today, and it was planned out. It's not like he just showed up and went behind the counter, but he basically went there to be a fry cook for the day. As publicity stunt or whatever he wants to do. It's Pennsylvania. He shows up, puts the apron on, does the whole press thing. Let me show you. Let me go here. And I don't really do this that much, but we're gonna be authentic. So I don't know how well this is gonna go. Let me do this real quick. Let me see if I get. Let's go to the top. All right. I'm going to start here. So this is some bookmarks that I set aside. This is normally how I put things together. I want to show you this clip. So he went there and he's just talking to people and he dressed up. He did the.
I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job.
Make sure you guys can see this well. Yeah, you guys can see it. He did the whole spiel. He dumped the fries. I think I had a clip for that, but I didn't set it up. This is him serving food at the drive-thru. Obviously, there's TV cameras. There's people. You can see people outside. Check out this interaction. Oh, let me see if I can widescreen. Yeah, check out this interaction, and just tell me. This is what I mean by like not being scripted, because he's interacting with real people in real time, and it definitely seems authentic. Check this.
I could do this all day. I wouldn't mind this job. I like this job. I think I might come back and do it again. Thank you. Look at that.
Mr.
Look at that. How are you?
Thank you, Mr. President.
Nice to see you.
Now pay attention. So this is drive. I don't think this is scripted. That's what I'm telling. I don't think any of this is scripted. But see how the interaction with people, and it's, if you took this and juxtaposed it with Kamala when she interacts with people and she has like a plate speech when they're like, I love you so much. She's like, we've seen clips numerous times where she doesn't know how to answer in an authentic way, just a politician-y way. This is just not a way a politician does things. And that's what I'm saying. Pay attention to how he interacts.
You made it possible for ordinary people like us to meet you.
You're not ordinary.
I mean, thank you so much for everything you're doing.
I can see.
We pray for you, and you are the type of person we want to be the president.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
So nice. Thank you very much.
In the background, she says, guys, in the background, the lady says, thank you for taking a bullet for us. Like, all right, so I didn't see this. This is when Trump got shot in the air. This was not the first thing like, oh, he took a bullet for it. But if that's an actual sentiment from Americans, because the whole spiel has been like, Donald Trump's like, they're coming after me because I'm the one standing in front of you, because they will come after you. Now, that we've seen a lot, because journalists have been locked up, people have been prosecuted. Lawfare come after just the most minute grandmas. I mean, J6 aside, I know people we've seen political people that aren't even on the right being visited by the FBI from mean tweets. We've seen this all over the place. Elon being coming after lawfare all the time, trying to be sued nonstop for doing things that were legal and according to the Constitution. Just they're pulling out all the guns against all of your opponents. So when Trump back in 2016 says they hate me because they hate you and I'm the one standing in the way, we all, myself included, are like, that sounds like a politician. That ain't real. Fast forward 8 years later, like, oh my God, that is real. Enough to where just average Americans are saying statements like, thank you for taking a bullet for us. Like, that is wild. Not saying she's crazy for saying it. It's just, it's wild that we're reaching a point of, I guess, political culture where this is hitting home. Like, people are legit feeling this election has permeated every like crack and nook and cranny of our daily lives. This election is seeped into enough for a sentiment like that. So let's finish this out, and I'm going to show you just more. It's wild.
Yeah, I took a bullet. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you think about it, I guess that's right.
So he even laughs about it. He goes, I took a bullet, like I took a bullet for you guys. Like, he makes it, caught him off guard. And that's what I'm talking about. Even that moment, just saying, it's like, look, hold on, we're going to watch this again, because I think this is important. Listen to this again. Listen to this interaction.
So nice. Thank you very much. Yeah, I took a bullet. That's right.
Thank you, Mr. President.
When you think about it, I guess that's right.
See, she goes, "Thank you for taking a bullet for us." And he goes, "Yeah, I did take a bullet. That's right." And he goes, "I guess when you think about it, I did." He wasn't even prepared for that, but he rolled with it. He's like, "Oh," and even the same thing that's happening to me right now is the same thing that's happening to you right now. It's the same thing that's going through his head. He's like, "Oh my God, people are really attached to this." The guys at McDonald's right now serving fries to drive-through customers. Now, I know the trope is he likes McDonald's, he eats McDonald's all the time. So there was poignant to go to McDonald's to do this. But whatever you say about the guy, he's an authoritarian, he's a dictator, he's a fascist, which we're going to see in a little bit. I can't take the caricature of whatever the media or whatever your family or your friends who are on the left, whatever thing they're trying to build Trump into, it's being dismantled left and right by small clips of him going to McDonald's or him being shot at or him telling funny jokes at a Catholic charity dinner. Like these small things, they seem minute to the mainstream, the corporate media. They seem like these are dumb, but they're not. They're the time. Okay, so there's this. This is exactly what they are. I would reference a book, but I think it's obscure. There's this point. This is such a weird reference in Lord of the Rings. There's a point where Gandalf is talking to Galadriel. I think it's Galadriel, and they're in Rivendell, and she's talking about the evil that's coming from Sauron. If you don't like Lord of the Rings, deal with it. Lord of the Rings reference. We got to have one of these at least once a month. She's talking about the great evil coming out of Mordor, and how they're going to stop this great evil. The armies of men are falling apart, and they're not uniting and stuff like that. And Gandalf says the thing that defeats evil are the small, mundane acts of ordinary men. That's what pushes back the darkness. And I think about that quote all the time because I think about that in my own life. But this is exactly what Trump is doing. He's not doing anything major. He's not going crazy, coming out with major political speeches telling you about how Kamala is going to be a communist. There's plenty of people online telling you Kamala's a communist. She's going to ruin the country. And he says stuff like that. But most of the time, like that bloodbath references was in reference to the car industry, saying, if he doesn't win, China's going to take over. But Kamala's going to introduce these particular policies. But he never says Kamala's going to come out and be a dictator. Because I think he knows what we all know, that she's just a puppet. Joe is just a puppet. There's a deep state. I think he knows that, but he's not really talking about it. Even when people press him on the Secret Service issue, we all look back at Butler, Pennsylvania. We're all like, hold on a second. And Dinesh D'Souza is coming out with a documentary about this now, or film, where if you take all of the coincidences that happened for that kid to be on that roof, it seems like very much a plot by people in power for him to take that shot. He doesn't even bring that up when pressed about it. When he was on, what was the podcast? He was just on a recent podcast where they brought that up, and he just kind of was like, "Yeah, the Secret Service, they're taking care of me now," and he didn't really push into it. And I thought that was real interesting because it seems like he knows, but he's not wanting to talk about those things. He almost doesn't really talk, other than the immigration as being a part and the drill baby drill, which are two big policies. He doesn't really go after anybody in particular when he absolutely could. And I think I would like him to do that more, but he's not. Instead, he's going to McDonald's and serving fries to drive-through customers. The small ordinary acts of ordinary men is what holds back the darkness. And this is exactly why this is winning. This is exactly why people say, "Thank you for taking a bullet for me." It's mind-blowing, guys. I would have never saw, like, I've watched Trump over the 8 years just like everybody else, and I could have planned this out. Like, back in 2022 when he came out, and or I think it was 2023, he said he's going to run again. We all kind of thought we knew what he was going to be running as, like the same old, same old. He's probably going to get in the administration. He's not going to do anything. This is just another thing. Dude, he's flipping it. He flipped the script big time. And even at the debate, he was very cordial. He didn't really lose his mind, even especially with Joe Biden. He didn't really take that many swings. Very different. And I think it's working. I think it's working. And I think all the MAGA basers like, we want retribution. And he's just serving. He's like, "Oh, sure, I'm sure you want retribution, but that's not how we win. How we win is by serving fries through a drive-through." Whoever's running his campaign is doing a phenomenal job. Anyway, let's finish this up.
Thank you very much. I could do this all day.
That was the end of the clip. I'm gonna bring it down. So we're gonna take a look at some other memes. So I thought that was great to start off. Now we're just gonna do memes because I think memes are great. This is Fred. I don't know who this guy is. He says the lib drive-through. It's the abortion bus that was outside the DNC versus the MAGA drive-through is Trump waving out the window. We have this one right here by George Alexopoulos. This guy's a cartoonist. I like him. I follow a lot of his stuff. And he makes a good point. He says, I've delivered pizza, worked registers, brew coffee, and served food. Anyone who says Trump pulled a stunt today has no idea how much this gesture means to the common America. He's absolutely right. Like I felt that. I waited tables and I felt this. This is ordinary things, and it's holding back the darkness. Here's another great meme I saved. It's Trump waving outside the McDonald's. All of these sour graped Democrats wearing Burger King hats. Guys, this happened today, and the memes are already flowing hardcore. Nuance Bro said when he becomes president again, they should have this up at airports and deportation centers when people leaving the United States. Thought that was phenomenal. Memes galore, but there was one I wanted to share real quick, and I thought I say this right at the end. So this one, this John D says Donald Trump is not simply a populist; he is the apotheosis of pop art. And I thought this was really cool, and I want to share this with you guys. I'm going to click on this, see if I can full screen it. Can you guys see that well? It's not. Let me let me do this. Nope, not that. Let me go full screen. Yeah, let's do this. And I'm going to read this out to you guys because I know it's super tiny, plus people are listening on just the audio. I'm going to read this out to you. This is a quotation. I've always thought that the president could do so much more here to help change images. If the president would go into public bathroom in the Capitol and have the TV cameras film him cleaning the toilets or saying, why not? Somebody's got to do it. Then that would do so much more for the morale of the people who do the wonderful job of keeping the toilets clean. I mean, it's a wonderful thing that they're doing. The president has so much good publicity potential that hasn't been exploited. He should just sit down one day and make a list of all the things that people are embarrassed to do that they shouldn't be embarrassed to do, and then do them all on television. By Andy Warhol in his book, The Philosophy of Andy Warhol. I don't know how I could sum that up even better. He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. It's wild to think. And the reason I brought that up is because as an artist, I love art, and the only reason why I love talking about politics is because it's so intrinsically inclined to culture, and culture big mainstay is art. And so I think I'm easily staying in my lane now since politics has taken over the art scene. And influence itself so much the way religion used to, not so much. But I think this taps onto a bunch of things. One of the things in ministry we always used to talk about when people, this is a weird side rant, but I'll make it quick. In ministry, when people, because I've worked in ministry majority of my adulthood, when people will come in, they want to come serve in the church. But most of the time, a lot of people would show up and they'd be like, hey, I want a leadership role. They want to move quickly up the ladder inside of church ministry because there's always a hierarchy. There's pastors, bishops, there's deacons. One of the first things that you would want to do is assign them to something like cleaning the toilets because it's got to get done. And it also shows that someone's humble enough to do so. And if someone who wants a leadership role is willing to go in and be like, hey, it's got it done. And it's humbling. But if this is what it takes to get me where I want to be, I'll do it. And hopefully when they do it, you watch them. And it's not simply enough that they clean the toilets, but that they do it with a smile on their face. Because the whole point of making somebody who wants to be a leader clean the toilets is to see how they react to something that will hopefully serve the person coming in after them. If you have a leader clean the toilets, it's not because it's like, well, this is a job, I just got to do this to get to the top. But see how they clean them. If they do a good job, why are they doing a good job? Are they doing it because they want the customer or the church attendant or whoever else, the person they're serving, to come in and have a clean bathroom? Or are they just trying to get to the top? They do it with joy. They do it with effort. They clean the toilets because they know it's important to the next person coming in. Not the person behind, just the average, ordinary person. It's important for them. They're like, hey, if I clean this bathroom, it's important to show love. It's a showing of love. It's a service of love. That's exactly what that freaking McDonald's thing is. Because he didn't just do it you can tell he's having fun. Like he's enjoying it. He's doing ordinary things for an ordinary person, and he's enjoying it because he knows it's defeating darkness. Now, you could say, like, David, I think you're just over exaggerating. Sure, I'm an artist. It's what I do, for sure. But all the other thing I do is I look deeply into somebody and watch how they participate in the world. And when they're on stage yelling about how dare he stand behind the sigil of the podium of the United States of America, this fascist, I look at that and I go, yeah, obviously scripted, but obviously she wanted to be there. When I look at Kamala's background, I don't see her cleaning toilets. I don't see her. I can't even find an instance where it seems like she genuinely cares more than just changing her accent and pandering to the individuals she's talking to. Doesn't seem like she puts in any work at all. Guys, her campaign sucks. I could have done if the Harris Walls campaign would have hired me, I would have done such a better. I don't know who they hired. I could have done a better job at meeting some kind of a populist middle America, even by playing their own rules. Be like, you want to do the woke DI stuff? I know I can do that too, but at least make it somewhat relatable to your average American. Make it a bit broad instead of just changing your policies to look like Trump's. She has no back foot. She has no substance. And guys, and that's what I'm talking about. This is wild. It's wild to see the avenues. That's why I said Mcdonalds is making McMoves. This is like 8D chess. He's Gandalfing it, guys. He's Gandalfing it. And I love to see it because it does. George Exopoulos was right. It does. It shows his humanity. It shows his humility. And he shows that doing a job like the president did it. And all right, you know all those things when people are like, Kamala is the first black lady president, and they show the little girl in front of the TV like, one day I can be just like her. Bro, they took the guy at the top and put him at the bottom. He goes, yeah, I think I could come back and do this again. This seems like a good time. They're flipping the script, and that's all you need to do. I mean, it's not only that, it's biblical. The first will be last, and the last will be first. Those who want to leave come to serve. I have not come, but to serve man. Like it's straight. I don't know. It's art. That's what I'm trying to break it down. Guys, this is an art, and it's being done very well. Enough to where even the average person looking at it be like, I don't know why the Kamala thing is not working, but I don't know why the Trump thing is working, but it is. It's not that you have to know why it's working or why what Trump does, you know, the McDonald's, like you can break that down. It's not so I'm getting ahead of myself. I want to show you this clip because this was the response, and this is how you know. This let me find this clip. This was the response. We're gonna go back. Oh crap! I may not have saved it. Actually, let me see. I may have saved it. There was an MSNBC response. My bookmarks. I didn't save it. Bummer. Anyway, MSNBC came out. And crap. Anyway, I thought I saved it. Not very prepared. I apologize. I thought I saved it, but MSNBC came out and they were trying to examine this whole Trump thing, and they're like, this is just a stunt. It's him just pretending. And what you really need to do is not fall for it and vote for Kamala Harris, because this is just him not having an economic plan. Although he has come out with an economic plan, and it's not a very good one, but he has come out with one. And they're just lying to you. And they're you can tell in the voice. God, I wish I would have had that clip. You can tell that they're pissed because they can't seem to figure out why. Oh, I do have it. Here we go. I'm sorry I did all that. No, pay attention to this. This is how you know. This is how you know I'm not well prepared. I had it in the wrong spot. No, listen to this. This is what I'm talking about. Listen to this thing.
I mean, if you're on his campaign, and I know you are certainly not, I'm not making any implication of that, but what is the logic behind this, going to a McDonald's? I mean, we know the guy likes Big Macs and filet of fish, and he's used the word love to describe.
All right, so right there, this is what I'm talking about. The first, what is the logic behind this? Why is Trump doing this thing? This seems very odd. Why would he do this? And you can tell that she's legit like, what's the logic behind this? What? Is this going to work? This can't work. Look, it shows him being humble. It shows him being lower. What? This can't work. They can't figure it out. I'm going to tell you why they can't figure it out. I think you already know why they can't figure it out. But let's continue on.
The way he feels about the food there before. But what's this about?
There's no logic to it. It's a stunt. He has not put forth an economic agenda. He, as you know, appears to be not well, and he's in.
Guys, they threw all of it in there. She doesn't know. I don't know who she's talking to, but even then she's like, well, obviously there's no logic to it. It's just a stunt. He's not well. He obviously has dementia and wandered into McDonald's. Obviously he's not well. Oh, we got a comment coming in from Zach. Zach said Trump got the stoner vote because of this. Absolutely right. Absolutely right. And maybe even Snar's like, well, it's just because he's at McDonald's. I'm totally taking it. But I'll tell you, even the lady talking, she doesn't know. And the reason they don't know is because they're looking at something. They're going, God, I think this is going to work, but they don't know why it's going to work. It's because it's art. And this is what I'm talking about. When you look at a beautiful painting, you might not be able to like, I don't know why that's beautiful, but I know it is. And that's my point when it comes to art. You might not be like, when you see something off, you're like, God, I don't know exactly why this sits wrong with me, but it does. Because there is logic, there's intent behind that. An artist knows what they're doing when they create something like that, or they don't, and it turns out to be a bad piece of art like most of my stuff. But that's what I mean when I say art, is because you might not understand why it's happening, but it's happening and it's working. And I love this. I love this response. It's just a stunt. He has no economic plan. He's obviously got dementia. They can't figure it out, guys. Are we winning? They're losing their minds. He's Gandalfing it, and they can't figure it out. They're like, I thought he was going to come out with the armies and the aggression to defeat Sauron. And in this analogy, yes, I'm putting the lefties as the orcs at Sauron, and the deep state would be Sauron in that point. All the orcs are the lefties. Anyway, let's continue on. Listen to her voice. Guys, listen. She's bewildered. They don't understand it.
Engaged in some really bizarre types of activities during this campaign. So this is just another one of those stunts that he will continue on through the campaign. And I think that we need to really focus on making sure that he is not elected, of course, because he is a threat to our democracy.
Not only did they not know, she just said it's bizarre. He's doing all these bizarre things. So of course it's not going to work, right? It's not working, right? And she can tell, she's like, oh, guys, is this working? They don't know. They don't even know if it's working. They're like, how come the polls? It's the same thing when they try to lock him up and this poll number skyrocket. People start giving money. Like, wait, we just told the American people he's a convicted felon. Why are people giving him money? And the reason they don't know is because they're not like you. None of them are like you. They don't understand who you are. They don't understand the background. It's the scales that come out, or not the scales, the stats that come out all the time where people interview, lefties and right wingers and they sit down, or conservative and liberal, and they ask the liberal, like, what's your opinion of the conservative? And it's a false caricature. They have no idea what a conservative thinks. But if you sit down with the conservative, go, what's your ideas of liberals? Conservatives, I think the last one was on, they can nail down the political stance of a lefty on 90% accuracy, because they know how the left thinks, which I don't understand. I personally am like, well, how does conservative know how all the lefties think? It's not rocket science. Their entire media is left. Everything, when you turn on the TV, it's left. Commercials, football stadiums, football games, baseball games, your Hollywood, Marvel, everything, institutions, the school your kids goes to, it's all left. Of course, conservatives know exactly how they think. They're getting nothing but this group think. Lefties don't know how conservatives think, because all they get is snippets from Morning Joe, where they're not even paying attention to what, or even trying to figure out why Trump would be doing something like going to McDonald's and serving fries. And they're just telling their audience, be like, look, he's just doing all this weird stuff. He must have dementia. Like, it's wild. It's wild that they think, I can't tell, are they just this dumb? Are coastal elites just been on top of the throne for so long they forgot that they can't think straight? They've been massaged into smooth-brained oligarchs into the point where they don't even know how to put two and two together. Or they're that disconnected from the average American or the average person. It's wild to me, and it's almost disgusting. Like it you can tell I'm mad, because I'm infuriated at the fact that this is MSNBC. You couldn't find one friggin' person to come on and be like, no, this is why it's working, and this is why. You couldn't find a David Lilly to show up and be like, let me explain to you midwits exactly what Trump's doing here and why it seems to connect with average Americans. It's wild. It's insulting, because it's not insulting to you as someone who understands. It's insulting to think that they think, and maybe they're right, that their entire viewership is like, yeah, this is so weird. Why would Trump do this? What an idiot Trump is to go to McDonald's. What an idiot Trump is to go serve fries at a drive-thru. What does he think this is going to do? Is this going to change anything? Did they either think you're dumb or they hate you, or it's both? And I'm really starting to lean on the both thing, which is fair because now I think they're dumb and I hate them. Because how smooth brained do you have to be, or it's scripted and she's just reading off like, hey, what are the key points the Dems sent out on the memo? Oh, he has dementia. What else is? Oh, he's doing weird things. He's weird again. Oh, we got. Let me. Oh, he's exhausted. Maybe he's exhausted. I don't know if you guys noticed that. Every Washington Post, New York Times article had the word exhausted, including Kamala's tweets. That exhausted, Trump is exhausted memo came out this week. It's wild, guys. And I don't like to pin people into a category of just being completely mentally incapable of understanding why going to McDonald's and serving fries would be a good thing for a campaign. But they're so disconnected, guys, that they don't know who you are. They don't see you as like, I don't know. How can you just not understand an average person? How could you not understand an average person? It's mind blowing. Anyway, I gotta bring this rant to an end. Let's check out the comments. James is back. We got they're totally okay with Biden getting ice cream, but Trump goes to McDonald's. Oh my God. Yeah, and that's a good point. Except for Biden couldn't serve himself his own ice cream. He goes there, gets it. Does he pay? Does Biden even pay for ice cream? No. He's just lucky if he doesn't fall off his bike on the way there. Anyway, you can tell I'm pissed today. This is infuriating though. How would this not make you how would this not make you mad? Are you not entertained at this? This should really irritate you. And go on Twitter and just see the response. Outside of the fantastic memes that are coming up, go on Twitter. The response is crazy. Anyway, let's continue on. We got Legacy Zach coming back in. It was perfect time to defeat the establishment and their disconnect from the lower masses. Yeah, he's absolutely right. This is great time. It was set up. It's almost like this was written or orchestrated. Zach also comes back as cognitive dissonance is real. And maybe Zach is right. Maybe this just comes down to the fact that they're so disconnected to reality with whatever Starbucks latte that they have delivered to them at their high-rise suite, whatever C-suite garbage. I don't know. But let's finish this out. Because you can tell the only good thing about listening to these people talk about Trump is you can hear the shakiness in their voice. Because they legit, they're running out. They're running out of cards. This is Sauron and Mordor. And it feels like Frodo's getting awfully close to Mount Doom.
But also, the Harris-Walsh agenda is about the economy, reducing the cost of living, reducing the cost of prescription drugs, reducing the cost of housing, and making life better for everyone. And that's what we have to focus on and make sure we get every voter to the polls and make sure that the voters vote for the future, not taking the country backwards, as you see what Donald Trump continues to try to do.
Did you hear that? Kamala's got all these great plans. She hasn't said what they are. She just said, we just want to make sure all the poor people aren't poor anymore, which is a phenomenal policy if you had anything to back that up. But even then, she was like, we need to get all of these people to focus on what really is that Trump has dementia, or that Trump's a fascist, or that Trump wants to take away your rights, or that Trump is evil Hitler man. He's orange and he's bad. And he makes crude jokes and he talks about Tim Walz and he makes fun of Doug Emhoff. We got to focus on all these things instead of, the problem is Trump's not even, it's not about what he's saying. Look what he's doing. And they don't have anything. Guys are running out of cards in their deck. They're playing all their poker hands and it's nothing but ones and twos. And then Trump, he's like, I don't even have aces up my sleeve. I got aces in my hidden in my McDonald's apron. That's what this is. It's
urging and encouraging everyone to get to the polls and vote for Kamala Harris and Tim Walz to be their next president and vice president.
You know, Donald.
That's and that was it. You can tell it's a cane spiel. They had to hurry up and get to it. Hurry up and talk about it. Just hurry up and stop. Basically, what she's saying is we need to make sure voters don't see this. We need to make sure they don't hear anything about this. We need to make sure they're not, which is weird because they're showing it, but they're not showing any, they're just showing it in the background while they talk over them. They don't want this to get out because this is Trump being humble, and they absolutely hate that. They absolutely hate that. And the only thing they could do to counteract that is this is it. If I was in the Kamala campaign, and this is why they can't do it. I can tell you exactly why they're having a hard time. The only way to counteract this is if Kamala would be humble herself. The problem is Kamala's incapable of that. There's no way she'd put on an apron. Or maybe I'm wrong. Maybe she comes out this week and she's serving Starbucks. But wouldn't that be something? Wouldn't that be something if she was like, well, I need to pull this card out too. She puts on the green apron and hangs out with the baristas. You can tell, are up in Midwest, or up in upper echelons of DC, mixing up fancy drinks, serving it to all the white liberals that come through that want to pay $16 for a latte. Versus Trump at a McDonald's. Like, even that they would fail. They would totally fail. She could go to a Burger King, but no. Burger King's a little too dirty. Let's pick something slightly upscale. Let's do I'll wait tables at what's a pleb restaurant? Cheesecake Factory? Let's pick that one. That seems dumb. She's never even heard of Cheesecake Factory. It's probably where she'll go wait tables at Cheesecake Factory, thinking she's going to connect to the middle America. They can't do it. She won't humble herself because that would be degrading. And it really shows who the real narcissist is. Guys, here's the funny thing. I hope, crap. I'm going to be flat out honest. I personally did not think I would like Trump this much. I like Trump because initially when he was coming through back in spring, when he showed up, and I told everybody, I was like, because I'm coming from a libertarian camp. Most of my friends are libertarian, or they're anarchists. Most of them are like that. I get that. I'm leaning too heavily right wing. But even when Trump came out, I was like, I'm definitely not going to vote for Chase Oliver. Even the other libertarian candidate, I probably wasn't going to vote for. There's only one libertarian candidate I thought that I might vote for. Even then, I didn't. But I said I was going to vote for Trump because it felt like the middle finger. Because whatever machine's going on, I want whatever's going to piss them off. And people are like, well, do you think Trump's going to be the greatest? No, I don't care. I don't care if Trump fails and just reenacts his whole entire thing again, and they stifle it and nothing changes. That's fine. I want to make sure because the people I dislike the most are the media, because they lie to your face. They think you're dumb and they think you're eating it up. And that's the whole point I do this whole live stream. And you can tell it irritates me. It cuts deep. It hits nerve. I do not like when people lie to you, unknowingly lie to you to try to manipulate you, because it's a sign they think you're dumb. And I'm sick and tired of them getting away with it. So I like to call it out. But the media, and if one person it seems that they hate the most is Trump, then I'm voting for him. If they were to turn this, say Trump and they turned on DeSantis and they're like, look at DeSantis, he's probably, whatever. Unfairly, if they pinned DeSantis against the wall unfairly, I would be like, yeah, well, he's the next middle finger. I'm voting for him. Whatever the middle finger, the biggest middle finger to the media and the established coastally, whatever the cabal, the deep state, whatever that is in your head, the biggest middle finger is the thing I want to vote for the most. And so that's where I'm going. I just didn't expect to like Trump this much. Lo and behold, I'm liking him a lot. And it's a sad day because I was just like, no one should like a politician this much. No one should like a politician this much. And I hate to tell you, I'm starting to really like this Trump guy. I'm starting to really like it. And I don't know what else he could do at this point in time. I'm starting to like even the stupid stuff he says. The funny jokes. Like, I don't know what to do. Whoever his campaign manager is doing a phenomenal job. I had a whole nother clip I wanted to watch, but we're coming close to the end of the hour. I think I'm going to save this one. No, we're going to go a little bit long tonight. Why not? Who's going to tell me I can't? Check this clip out. Normally I would stop and we're going to analyze it. I'm going to do that. I'm going to let it play longer than I normally would. Because I know you guys hate when I pause it. Maybe you don't. I've never gotten comments for like, stop pausing the video. So we're just going to watch it. I'm going to do whatever I want. And we're going to end it with this. So our favorite three lefties went on Bill Maher this week. And I thought we'd listen to this because I thought this was very interesting. They're back on trying to figure out the masculinity thing again. They're doing a terrible job, but at least we're getting some honest conversations about what it is. And lo and behold, wouldn't you know, they still have no idea They still have no idea. Check this
That
out.
explains why Trump is doing so well among young men.
Well,
we have one here. We have one.
I think it's a sample size of one for too long. For too long, I think the Democratic Party has had this idea that compassion is kind of a zero-sum game, where somehow if we are talking about the fact that we have a mental health crisis among young men in this country right now, if we're talking about the real needs that young men face, that somehow it's to the detriment of other people, obviously mainly women. And I just don't think that way. I think that we can care about everybody. And I think for too long, there's been a stigma. There's been a stigma around talking about helping, those people, because obviously for thousands of years, talking about men was to the exclusion of women, and I understand the fear around that. But we have to end this taboo, or else it's going to be detrimental.
All right, our boy David Hogg here. The whole question was, why is Trump appealing to young men? And his not that I thought he was going to say something intelligent. He's already wrong right off the bat. And I can tell you instantly when he was like, this is it, compassion and caring. We just haven't cared enough about young men. We just haven't given them enough help. We haven't reached out and helped a hand. Wrong. That's not why young men are going after Trump. It's because they want a helping hand. They're not asking Trump. Guys, young men are going for Trump because they think Trump's going to reach out and lift them up. No, Trump is the middle finger. Trump is slapping the government's hand away from you. Young men are not voting for Trump because they want a helping hand. They just want to stop being punched in the knees. That's it. They don't need help. They don't want help. They just want to stop being messed with. That's it. Still, right off the bat, doesn't know what it is. I'm not even a young guy, and I can tell you, and maybe I'm wrong. Maybe if you're young, put in the chat, be like, David, you're absolutely wrong. I really do want some help. I want my mom to come pick me up from school or whatever. Whatever thing that you have that you think the government needs to come help you, I guarantee, find an actual young man who's going, it's like, I would like to buy a house. What I don't want is the government to come and give me one. Young men don't want to be given things by the government. They don't need your compassion. They don't need that. They just need you to get the hell out of the way. That's all young men need, is for you to get the hell out of the way. Zach came in, and Zach said a great comment. Young men want to be men. That's it. They don't want to be helped by the government. This is why David. I'm trying not to rant on this kid. Beside him being insufferable and have a punchable face, he's wrong, and we should just judge him on his stupid opinions, on which there are many, very many, that come out of this kid. I thought maybe he was going somewhere insightful. I really gave him a bone. I was like, he might say something. He might say something here. Maybe he's going to turn a leaf. Maybe he's going to turn the page on his mentally handicapped. Nope, still mentally deficient. Here we go.
It's going to be detrimental to the future of the Democratic Party, because we have to have, both men and women.
It really is. I've got to say one other thing too. I told one of my kids. I've got 4 kids, and one of my kids, kind of progressive. I said when they went off to school, I said, make sure you don't push the young men into the corner. You go into a pretty liberal place. I also said this to the head of school there. I said, here's the deal. You tell young men that they are suspects because they are young men, because of the sins of men over thousands, like this collective guilt. You push them into the corner, they will come out Trump supporters.
Yeah.
And I will tell you, I have one Democrat after another Democrat that's never voted for a Republican before, unlike me, that have said their boys, again, this was back 2016, 17, 18, 19, they would send their 7-year-old boys to school. Their 7-year-old boys would come back with these horror stories about teachers having the boys stand up, the teachers pushing those boys basically into the corner. Collective guilt for thousands of years of ways that men fucked up.
Racially, too.
And what happens when you push somebody into the corner? Andrew Sullivan wrote about this. You push a conservative into the corner, or you push a boy into the corner, they come out more radicalized. They come out, in this case, supporting Donald Trump. And that's happened.
Did you catch the end there? I mean, I would assume that Morning Joe, we always got Morning Joe on. This time he's on with Bill Maher. I would assume he's telling the truth there. And I wouldn't put them past, be like, all right, we're going on to the collective thing now. But they can't. That's a third rail. Democrats can't touch that. It's nice that they're bringing this up, but I still don't think that's it. I don't think that's it. And we'll talk about this further. I don't think young men are sick and tired of being put in a corner and pushed away. But the reason I don't think that's part of it is because what he just said there. He goes, if you push a conservative into the corner, they're going to come out radicalized. They're going to come out Trump supporters, guys, as if voting for Donald Trump is a radical move. The guy serving fries. That's what they're radical. This guy's a radical. It's just a normal Trump supporter. Again, it's this victim thing. They think people are voting for Trump because they've been beat up and they haven't been helped and they've been shunned and they've been ostracized and they've been put down. What if they just don't like you? What if they think all of your policies are garbage? What if they think you might be communist or Marxist or just lunatics? What if they think you just want to ruin the country? Has anyone? No, you're not going to talk about that? No, because then you would have to be self-aware. And Joe Scarborough, the one thing he can't do is be self-aware. Anyway, let's continue on.
To young men.
And
we got Mark
I think it's a delicate balance because we need to acknowledge that although young men like myself and others, we are not responsible for the creation of that environment in the first place. We also need to understand the history of that and recognize that we have a responsibility as men.
Right. Do you think social media plays a part, just the reinforcement of memes over and over 8 hours a day?
I think social media plays a part.
Hold on. I have to pause it here because that's Mark Cuban. And I love that he brought this up because Mark Cuban for the past 4 months, maybe even longer, has been every time he posts on Twitter or X, just the memes he gets packed up, guys. He gets packed up online and the memes are amazing. I love that the memes, you can tell at first you're like, well, Mark Cuban, he's rich. He doesn't matter. And the memes, they probably don't affect him. Guys, they're totally affecting him. That was the first thing he went to. He's like, why are all these young men, it seems like they're going to be voting Republican. The Mark Cuban's like, it's the memes. It's the friggin' memes. They keep coming. They're coming from everywhere and they're funny and we can't figure them out. It's the memes. I've got $1 billion in my pocket right now. How do I make the memes stop? Bro, you ain't gonna. You can never make the memes stop. You can never pay us off enough to stop the memes. The memes will be here and they are here to stay. And they'll keep going as long as Elon still owns Twitter. Dude, Mark Cuban gets packed up on Twitter all the time by a cartoon frog. Just destroyed. I love that. They're having a serious conversation about the development of young men in America. And Mark's like, it's the memes, guys, the memes. He's not wrong. The memes do play a big part. They do play a big part.
Of it, I think the commodification of hatred on social media in particular, especially
because everything's a meme. Right. Everything's a meme.
Everything's a meme. Hear? Guys, everything's a freaking meme. They're in my dreams. They're coming at me in the morning. When I wake up, when I close my eyes, all I see are memes. Exactly how we want it to be.
Especially since COVID, right? We know for a fact since the passage of Title IX, for example, that young men used to get bachelor's degrees at a rate 15% higher than women. Now that rate has flipped, where women are getting 15 bachelor's degrees at a rate 15% higher than men. That's not necessarily a bad thing. It just means that our education system needs to, we need to look at the structuring of it and realize that for young boys in particular, they're actually developmentally behind women a lot of the time, as anybody who's had kids.
They need affirmative action.
Men need help. Scott Galloway.
Again, they went back to it. This is why lefties will never get it. This is why they won't get it. They need affirmative action. It was a joke, obviously, but he just said they need help. As if the only thing that's going to solve this problem is if the government comes in and gives the men an upper hand. This is why they'll never get it. The men don't want an upper hand. They don't need an upper hand. They just want you to get out of the way. That's what a young man wants. A young man just wants to grow up and be an older man. And the best way he can do this, he finds his own way. He plows his own path. He doesn't need help. I love how the thing that they go to, be like, how young men are suffering? Look at the bachelor degrees. Look at all these women getting degrees and all these men not. Is it because We've oriented our schooling system to appeal to women instead of men. Is it because of affirmative action? Is it because of these policies? Maybe it's because you made it so unappealing. Men used to like sail across the world and conquer nations. And now you just expect them to hurry up and get a degree and go into debt. What's the highest achievement for a man today? If you were to ask these Democrats, this room, Mark Cuban, Joe Scarborough, Bill Maher, and old Davy Hogg, be like, hey, what do you think is the highest achievement outside of becoming president like Trump's about to do? What would you, when you, a young man growing up, what do you think is his big deal? What do you think he wants the most out of life? Where the top of his mountain, what does that look like? Well, of course they would all go around and be like, well, you want to be a billionaire like Mark Cuban, or Joe Scarborough is want to be a political analyst for a mainstream media with 3 PhDs because that's how he certification. I want to be like Bill Maher, where I'm on TV all the time. And I go where I want, do what I want. I've had a show, or David Hogg, but like I grift off dead kids, whatever. All of their answers are wrong, because that's just not what men are shooting for anymore. Do you know how I know? It's because a group of my friends, we're all old, we're all getting into our 40s, and when we meet new people, you know what? The one thing that's the least impressive, how many degrees you have, just doesn't matter to us anymore. They're not worth what you think they are. I mean, sure, yeah, you might be able to make money. You know what's more impressive? Making $1 billion without a degree. You know what men want to do? They just want to have a life that feels fulfilled. They want to be men. They want to be able to do what they can do with what they have and forge a path forward. And sometimes just walking from high school into associate's degree to bachelor's to PhD, like we were all told this is the only way path forward for success. They're looking around the world being like, no, it's not. That trade welder over there is making more than the guy that, has a computer science degree. Why is that? Was I lied to as a man growing up? No one told me that I could have a family and a house and be successful just by being in the trades. No one told them that. And now when they're getting older, they're realizing, like, how come all these people seem stable? They're not losing their minds. They're not on Bill Maher for sure, but they're also not lunatics, and they're also not disconnected. Maybe young men are looking for a masculinity that looks more like a traditional masculine man, a guy with a family, a stable career. Maybe what men want is to be like what Gandalf told Galadriel. Maybe it's like what Trump's doing right now. Maybe young men want to be strong, ordinary men who take care of the things around them, that till their own garden, that take care of their family. And as Zach says, maybe men just want to be left alone. And he's absolutely right. I think we also got James coming in. The right serves memes. The left serves pills. Choose wisely. That's actually a great point James made. The right does serve memes. The left just tries to get you drugged. Maybe that's their next avenue. I'm sure in this conversation, we're not going to finish it because these guys are dumb. And I don't really want to go on. I'm sick and tired. You can only take so much insufferable chatter. This is like the male version of The View. That's exactly what this is. If you were to take The View and just turn them all trans, this is what it would be. This little accompaniment of the worst lefties that you can ever think of, especially ones that are, I mean, he's politically trans, old Scarborough here, trying to pass off as a Republican. Not with that disguise. Anyway, that's it. That's for our show, guys. I think if you were to ask any young man, your average young man in America, what do you want? They're like, hey, I want to be able to take care of myself, take care of my family, and succeed with the things that are around me. And I think that would be it. Well, don't you want your 5th PhD and your 4th booster? No, I don't think they're falling for it anymore, guys. I don't think it's falling for it. You know what speaks to young men more than this group of idiots around the table? Trump serving fries, and they still can't figure that out. So anyway, thanks for tuning in this week. I absolutely love you guys. I love for you guys hanging out. Don't forget to like and subscribe, share. And you can also, I'm not going to pull it up, but you can go to Flintlock and Fog, see the latest project I'm in the middle of working on right now. So I've been awfully quiet on the internet. It's because I've got other things going on that hopefully will pick up speed in the future. But until then, go to pardonwell.com, buy some art, buy some merch, buy things, or just share this podcast out on whatever you're listening to. Tell your friends. Sunday nights are for the boys. Pardonwell Live. That's how we do. Either way, I hope you have a wonderful week. Do not be black-pilled. Stay white-pilled. We're winning. And even if we don't win, we always win. And you're like, David, how do you know if we win in the end, be like, well, I read the Bible and it says we win in the end, and I believe it. And it's also seeming to look like it too. So stay white pilled, love your neighbor as yourself.